stumbled upon a public rave. We were literally just wanting to walk around to see what things were going on, and we just stumbled in the park a rave, and it was fun. It was put on by the city. It was hella dope vibes. It was like everything. Hey y'all, so welcome to another Paint Your Truth workshop session. As you can hear, my voice is a little hoarse, and there's been some new updates in life, so we'll catch up. Today is actually Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, October 13th. It's October 13th, not Friday 13th, but we are in October season, so you know that's that Halloween season. That's when the veil between the spiritual and the physical gets very thin, and people start to have to deal with their shadow, certain things that bubble up to the surface. But nonetheless, let's do as we always do. Let's do an inhale and an exhale with the singing bowl. I'll explain what is Paint Your Truth, what we're doing with this owl painting that we left off at the last Paint Your Truth workshop. So let's get into it. And let me sage this room so we can be in our highest vibration. Hopefully all has been well since I have done a painting session. We're going to do some pop-up art, as you can see, because we already have the canvas painted. But hopefully y'all have been well. Hopefully y'all's September, because I think I left y'all off in September. But hopefully that has been well for y'all as well. Entering to October, hopefully all these planets in retrograde aren't affecting you too much. Let's light the sage. Let's clear out this room, clear out this energy for our highest vibration. Let our creativity spill over. Let us be in our most highest and positive state of mind. Let us be stress-free. Let us focus on our self-care and wellness, because above that, what else counts? We got to get our mental, our physical, our mind, our body, and soul together. And hopefully our worries, our troubles are soon to be over. All right, Ashe. Now, so when it comes to process painting is about you expressing your creativity. Unlike a typical paint workshop, or let's say a painting class, a paint night type of thing, where you're following the instructor's image or directions. When it comes to process painting, it's literally connecting your mind, your body, your soul. It is about what expresses, or not even just expresses, but you're expressing what truly matters to you. How do you resonate with the energies of that day? So as a process painting facilitator, I bring all the materials, the canvases, the paintbrush, the paints, and all that jazz. All the participants need to do is come in with a healthy state of mind and ready to enjoy themselves, be in their creativity, as well as share space with other participants. Usually when people come in, they're nervous because they're thinking like it's going to be something like Bob Ross, or they're going to be judged or anything like that, but it's never like that at all. If anything, everybody's just there to just be in the vibe, be in the mode of taking care of self, because oftentimes we're ripping and running and we don't have time to sit down and see what we need and how we can implement that, right? And when I'm running these Paint Your Truth workshops, I would ask the participants 3 simple questions. Obviously, the first one would be, what is your name, or what do you want to be called during this shared space? The second follow-up question would be, what did you learn about yourself within the last 16 months since the pandemic, but outside of the pandemic? I've been running these workshops for the last 6 years. I would be asking, what about yourself that you've discovered just in general? And then the third question I ask is, what brought you to Paint Your Truth? Because this is different than a typical painting workshop, there is a spark, there is an inspiration in the participants to really cater to themselves and be unapologetic about what they need and how to get their needs met. So after I ask the questions and everybody gets their supplies, then we set our intentions into painting. Again, process painting is not about becoming the next painter, or even following other people's instructions about what you need. What is process painting to you? What do you need to do to give you the health and the wealth that you are searching from within, right? Because this is a self-care painting workshop, the question is always going to resonate differently for different people. And that's what self-care is about. What do you in particular need? What I need is going to be different. The next person next to you, their self-care need is going to be different. But within the shared space, everybody is painting and getting into the creative mode of self-care. What does that mean to the individual person? And then later on, we'll see what we're going to discover about ourselves and how we're going to implement that. So, I think I went over the gist of process painting, what I'm going to do with y'all, and then, towards the end, we'll wrap up and you'll see how things go. So, since I've been on a roll with pop-up art, that is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to continue with this canvas. Just saw the essential oil. This is lavender spray, and it's completely natural, completely healthy. I'm going to spray in the air so I can get in the mode and be present as I am instructing and talking to y'all and all that jazz. So lavender, it does it for you, okay? Whatever lavender you have, lavender tea, lavender oil, essential oil, bubble bath, just perfume, lotion, it just grounds you. It just makes you present within self. So, now, as y'all know, I got the glue gun on deck, but, make sure for viewers at home to not burn yourself, because it's easy to get yourself caught up and then cause yourself an accident. And if you're a minor, not only should you possibly not should be watching this, but ask your parents for help, because you don't want to burn yourself, you don't want to burn anything else. Safety first. I got my scissors on deck, and I have an old dried out paint palette. And that's what we're going to use for the paint pop-up art. And we're going to add pieces to this canvas to give it a little bit ba-ba-boom. So, yeah. So if you watch these process painting videos that I do on this channel, Paint Your Truth, welcome. Or shall I say, what would be the term? The term would be like, welcome back. And if you're new to this and this is your first time watching this video, glad to have you. Thanks for strolling on by. Typically, I would be asking, what did you do for your religious ceremonies, if you practice, if you did anything in regards to like church or temple or mosque, whatever it is for you, because typically when I do these process painting and I record them, it's on a Sunday or a Saturday, but today's on Wednesday. So if you did practice anything, shout it out in the comment section down below. But I don't know about y'all, but I had a lot of first. That's why I haven't made videos. I actually moved, and then after moving, I went on a girls trip to D.C., Washington D.C. So between all of that, I didn't have time to record, but I definitely practice self-care. Hopefully you did too. Self-care can be anything that prioritizes you, that gives you that one-on-one time with self, even inner dialogue, right? Listening to what your soul has to say. Sometimes we're just so much in the mode of gotta get things done that we don't really take time to listen to what our soul really needs, what our soul are really calling to, right? So making sure that we check in with stuff, we reflect with our days, we reflect on our thoughts, we reflect on how we feel, making sure that we are good first and foremost, because we can't be anything to anybody else until we are whole and healthy for self. So that's what I have been up to, and it was really fun. I didn't get to go to everything that was available, like the museums and whatnot, because we didn't get tickets prior. It was me and two other friends, and but the scenery, the people, the vibes was all like 10, 10, 10 across the board. Not necessarily the food though. I went to a brunch spot with my friends, and the ratings on Yelp were like, oh, it's so great, it's so great. And it had like 11,000 reviews. And we're like, obviously, we gotta go here because like the food is jumping, right? Yeah, we get there. And first of all, it's a long line, obviously, because it's popping. So you need reservations. We didn't have reservations. We just popped in there. So we had to wait. Understandable. So as we're waiting, before we even get like into the restaurant, because we're waiting outside, the lady tells us that our table won't be available until like an hour. So we had to wait an hour outside. It wasn't cold, but it's one of those cloudy days, like you don't know where it would go. It could go rainy. It could go full blown like windy, rainy. It could just be like the dark cloudiness, but like it's kind of cold. Like we didn't know what the weather was given, okay? Massachusetts is known for having bipolar weather, and it's global warming. You know, I'm always going to throw it out there because that is a legitimate thing. I know the weather's unexpectable, so like that should be expected, that the weather is not to be expected. So like I already knew I was up for another state, another city. I'm just kind of like, I don't know, like is it given what I need, or should I take a jacket, should I wing it? I don't know. But standing outside wasn't that bad because we had a little area that we could sit. So we're sitting, we're talking, we're seeing the vibes, whatever. And you know, they sent us a text message 30 minutes, not even an hour, 30 minutes to tell us that our table was up. Now, when we were sitting down, we saw the concierge person yelling people's names just in case they didn't hear it to come get their table. So we're sitting right like less than a yard away from the reception table, and we're just kind of like, okay, well, talking. One of my friends checks her phone and she sees a text 30 minutes ago that says our table was up, and we're like, but we're literally sitting right in front of their faces. Like, why didn't they just say, hey, B, your table's up, like come get your spot? And we were just like, what the F? So we go to the concierge table and we're just like, hey, we were outside, like literally right there, right in front of your face. Our table was up like 30 minutes ago. Like, why didn't y'all scream out our names? Like we would have just came and got our table. And they were like, well, unfortunately, it's going to be another 30-minute wait to get a table. So I'm like, so y'all said it was an hour. It really was 30 minutes. But now you're telling us it's back to being an hour if we wanted indoor seating. So we're like, we're going to wing the outside. We'll just take a table outside. Hopefully it don't rain. Hopefully it's not super windy. So we sit down, we eat. So that was strike number one right then and there. Okay. So we sit down, we eat. We're looking through the menu. Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. The only thing that made that experience good was the fact that the waiter was like friendly, personable, right? And then we asked him things on the menu, and he was just like, you should go for this. This is actually good. Whoop-de-whoop-whoop. So we get to the table, we order, and we order eggs and like toast, like basic breakfast foods, right? I get an eggs, French toast to substitute like regular dry toast, and hash brown and a coffee. Y'all, they did something weird with the hash brown, bro. Like the hash brown didn't taste like regular hash brown. They had butter in it. It felt like It just didn't have that crisp that regular hash browns had. And it wasn't it. I don't know. They didn't really season it. They didn't really flavor it up, and it was just like a thick patty, and it's not supposed to be that. It's supposed to be light. It's supposed to be like crunchy. It's supposed to have that like French fry effect, but it had more of like a potato pie-ish type of effect. And I was like, that's not what I wanted. And then the eggs was like not it either. I don't know what it was with the eggs, but it was bland, but it was also like, I don't know, mushy. It just wasn't doing it for me. The only thing that hit was the French toast, but the French toast was literally this big. Like literally this big. And it was an extra $3. And the only thing that was hitting was the coffee. The coffee was spicy. They did like a little Aztec Mayan, like spicy gingery cinnamon thing to it, and it was actually good. I was like, you know what? I could have just gotten the coffee and this little heap of French toast, and I would have been straight, because this hash brown ain't hitting. this hash brown cake thing ain't hitting, and these eggs it just ain't for me. So that wasn't it. Then we end up walking to this air and space museum, which was actually pretty dope. I'll add pictures of that. And we had a fun time. We learned history about like air and travel, and we saw like the old planes, the Wright brothers, and all that good stuff. And it was pretty busy. The thing about the museums is that depending on the museum, you don't need tickets. Like the aerospace one, I don't think we had tickets, but for like the African American Museum, I think even the Holocaust Museum and all the other museums, you need tickets in advance, but they're free. But if you think you're going to get tickets the same day, try your luck next time. So we for whatever reason, we just didn't know that was that, and we missed out on that. But if we ever go again, which I think all of us really enjoyed ourselves, so we probably would go again in some time in the future. But yeah, so we went to the museum. It was fun. We saw all the different like histories and time of just flight and how flight came to be. Like people were literally putting on like fake bird wings and like flying, like jumping off of things and calling that flight. I was like, wow, that was a long way from that to drones, a long evolution. So it was cool for that. Then we went bowling. Bowling was pretty fun. I'm not the best bowler. Truth be told, sports ain't my thing. I'm gonna be honest with you. Even bowling. Some people do that thing professionally, get paid for it, so I guess it's a sport. But sports ain't my thing, and I'm okay with that. I just don't want to be like the worst of the worst, but I'm okay if I'm not like top 5. And it was actually a really great experience. I met a friend's friend, if that makes sense, and we all went bowling. And the thing about me is I'm not competitive. That's the thing about it. Like I just said, I don't do sports. Like, how am I going to be competitive? But I'm not really into sports. I feel like that goes hand in hand, though you don't have to be competitive only about sports, but when you think competition, competitiveness, you think of sports. I'm not that, but I'm also the type of person, because, you know, I'm a Libra moon, so like Mercury is heavy for me, and then I'm like a Libra rising, and then on top of that, like my Mercury is in Taurus. Yes, my Mercury is in Taurus. So like, needless to say, I'm gonna talk. Like that was the point. That was the point. I'm gonna talk. So the friend of a friend's friend, like typical guy, I'm gonna beat everybody, just letting you know, like I'm gonna be getting strikes up and down the bowling alley. Like I'm just gonna let y'all know I'm number 1. And I'm like, oh, I bet. Like if that's the life you live in, I hope that you can really back it up. Long story short, no. It was my friend who whooped everybody's ass because she had like 80 points. I was okay. I had like, 60 points, and I was cool with that because I didn't want to be the one with like 2 points. 60 points, better expectations than I thought I was going to have. So I was totally fine with that. But old boy who was talking all that spiciness, he didn't win. All that motivation he was trying to apply to everybody else, he should have applied it to himself, because he didn't win. And it was okay, because again, I'm not competitive. But I was just trying to see if the theory was going to hold up. And surprise, surprise, the theory did not. But it was a fun time too. It wasn't anything serious. Then after bowling, we went up and down U Street. And we ended up stumbling upon a couple of clubs. They were okay, but the club that really had us jumping was the gay bar. And it was super fun. We stumbled upon this gay man, and he was just giving us all the vibes. Like, it's funny because our friendship circle, me and the 2 women that I went with, is pretty relatively new. We met each other in the summer, but it's one of those things where it's a new experience for everybody involved, and you are your authentic self, but you're also like aware of, does that rub someone the wrong way, or will they perceive me in a not so flattering way? So we're still learning each other essentially. And we went to the club, and me, I'm not a club type of person, but I am one of those on the blue moon. I stumble upon, like, the music's jumping, the people are a vibe. I can get down with the get down, right? But I'm not the type of person who's like clubbing every Saturday, clubbing every Friday. Let me get like my nails done, hair done, everything did to go to the club. That's not me. But if it's a vibe, it's a vibe. And you can't hold me to anything that I do when a vibe is a vibe. Now, I'm not going to be out there like chicken cutlet Miley Cyrus, but I might give you a little bit of Meg the Stallion action because these knees do work. Okay. So I was getting down with the get down, and it was fun because everybody was in their own vibe, in their own zone. One of the women, she is a Leo, and the way I perceive her is very just like grown and mature, and like not just grown and mature, but like she would just make a really good wife, a really good mother, head on her shoulders, independent, strong, like tenacious. Like she's just very self-assured, just very put together. And to see her get loose and get down too, that was a vibe. And it was just one of those nights where it's just like let loose and let go and let God. That was fun. And before we went to that bar, we also stumbled upon a public rave. We were literally just wanting to walk around to see what things were going on, and we just stumbled in the park, a rave. And it was fun. It was put on by the city. It was hella dope vibes. It was like everything that you needed. Was like R&B, but it was like also like, I don't even know how to explain that. Oh my god. But it was vibes. It was vibes. It was vibes, vibe. It was instruments. It was drums. It was more acoustic because there wasn't any like much speak besides like pump it up, it's my jam. But it wasn't like an artist singing or rapping or anything. And it was just vibes. It was just vibes. Everybody was there. People was there with their animals. People were there with their significant other. There was an old couple getting it down, breaking it down. She got knees and she looked like she was 60, okay? People were smoking it up, you know. I don't know about DC if it's legal or not, but here in Massachusetts, it's legal. So people were just vibes. And I love seeing people like that. DC is an interesting place in the sense of like the way things are laid out and whatnot, but I love seeing that no matter where I'm at, where people are just people are just getting down, people are just celebrating, people are just happy, regardless of the gender, regardless of the race, regardless. That's why I love music so much, because music is so universal. You don't have to speak the language to get the vibe. It's a vibe. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just a vibe. And it's interesting because throughout the mini vacay, because it was from October 8th to October 11th, I was at DC. One of my friends, the one who kicked everybody's ass in bowling, was like, I was just more concerned about you catching a vibe. And I was like, I appreciate that, but the DC trip was not something I had any like, I really need to do this and I really need to do that. It was just letting things happen as they unfold and not having any expectations, because I've learned throughout life, when you have expectations and they don't work out, especially the person that I am, it's like a big blow to me. It's like it's a heavy disappointment just in life in general. And I've learned to be more on the stoic type of thing, where it's just like, let things happen and don't react, just let things happen. And I've realized overall, it just made me more of a more happier and balanced individual when I have no expectations. If this happens, cool. If this doesn't happen, cool. Or just any random thing happens, cool. Because going to a gay bar was definitely not on our agenda. And that was one of the highlights of the trip. So it's one of those things, right? So I was like, I appreciate that. And I definitely caught several vibes, and it was just a dope time. We had brunch at this place called Mission, and it was like a taco Mexican brunch place, and it was great. First time I had bottomless mimosas. It was not just me, because girl, I could not. But it was my friend and her friend and I participated in bottomless mimosas. And would I do it again? Well, on the regular, no, because I don't even do brunch on the regular. But if I were to go to brunch, would I do it again? Quite possibly. But it was just a vibe. It was just let go, let loose, self-care, carefree, do you. What else did we do? What a couple of other areas. But the thing about DC, they start late. Like here in Massachusetts, when it's like the club theme, it starts at 10. But like other places might open around like 8 or 9. But like we end around like 12 or 1 in Massachusetts, depending on the area, depending on the club. But like we start earlier. That's the point. But in DC, they start like at 10, 11. Sweetie, like I'm inching towards 30. Like by midnight, I'm gonna be inside. Like I'm tired. My feet hurt. I need a nap. I want to just spread up under these covers. Like I know I might be a geriatric, because that's what I heard in these internet streets. Geriatric millennial, and I'm okay with that, because I'd rather be true to self and be like, ooh, this was fun. Got all the twerking out for the night. I need to go home. Versus trying to keep up with the 21-year-old. And even if I have the stamina, I don't want to be that chick who doesn't realize that her time has came and went, and I'm still trying to extend that time that has left. Black don't crack, but also like 30's 30. I'm just saying. But I don't know what was my point in saying that. But yeah. Yes, DC clubs. They start late and they end late. Like they end like around like 3 or 4. And I'm like, I'll be damned. Even in my younger years, I wasn't the club girl, but even when every now and then, like once a year, I would go, I was never like 3, 4 o'clock. It was like by 12, 1, I gotta be inside. Like there's no 3, 4 o'clock. Like what is that? But that's there in DC. What's another club? It was kind of hood as fuck. I'm not gonna lie. But sometimes I like a little surprises. So a little hood ain't necessarily bad. But I don't know if it's a DC thing. I don't know if it's because of the particular club that we went to. But I didn't like the fact that I'm trying to get my groove on certain songs. I'm like, ooh, I know this song. Ooh, like Swag Serve. And like, Thought Shit, Megan. Hands on your knees, shaking ass on some Thought Shit. The DJ's interrupting every time we're getting to the climactic part of the song. Just to say whatever bullshit. And it's just like, sir, I did not come to listen to you. I came to listen to the music, not you. And every 5 seconds, he gotta stop the track and talk over the track. And I was just like, yo, I can't catch a vibe. I can't catch a vibe if you keep stopping the song or talking over the song. I did not come to see you. And it's not just talking like I'm talking with my little raspy voice. It's that, I'm super close to the mic and, did you hear me? If you put your hands up. I was just like, y'all really vibe to this? Like this is DC. Like y'all like when y'all DJs do that? Because I don't. Like my vibe is dead. It's kind of like if I was in the mood to like do some freaky things, it's like finding out your cousin died and it's just like, oh, totally out of the mood. It was that. Like I was ready to like hands on my knees, and the DJ ruined it for me. I was like, I'm all set. Like, if this is going to be the whole night, and I've been here for like 30 minutes, and this seems to be what it is in DC, I'm throwing my head out. This was great. I'm going to find somewhere else where the DJ don't talk. So that's what I actually did. I went somewhere else, right? Oh, we also have food too. Forgot about the other food places. So we went to this place called Noodle. It's on like near U Street. And the place that I didn't like, I wasn't going to say its name, but since I said the name of the other 2 places, I might as well say the name of the first place. It's called Founding Fathers. Founding Farmers, okay? The place where the breakfast was trash. I gotta be honest with you. It was what it was. Don't come for me. I just didn't like it. I'm not going to come back, and I'm one of those people, okay? Don't play with my taste buds, okay? If the food was whack, I'm not going to come back. The only time I'll come back if I've been here before multiple times, and this one time you effed up my food, and I'm still going to be mad about it because you know I'm a tourist. I like to eat. So I'm still going to be mad about it, but I'm not going to hold it against you because you got a reputation. You got a track record of being great. But if my first time is the trash time, I ain't feeling try again. So that's my opinion on that. But the noodle place was good. But the thing about me, I don't know if it's because I'm inching closer to 30, or just because I've lost a lot of weight. I'm not really sure right now. But the point is, I can't eat as much as I used to eat. When people, again, know me now versus knowing me like maybe a year or two ago, they're like, wow, you're very small, you're very this. And I'm like, this body is relatively new. So I'm still understanding this the way that y'all are processing this new me, but this is the only version of me that you've seen. So I don't know what I ate before, but once we got to that restaurant, which was cool, the food was great and everything, I could only have 3 spoonfuls of like the pad thai, and that was it. Everybody else could eat. I only could have 2-3 scoops, and that was it. And the conversation, which wasn't bad at all, it was just like, damn, you don't eat a lot, do you? And it's like, I don't even know how to really answer that, because again, this body's relatively new. I used to be a bigger girl, so I can't eat as much as I can eat, and even if I wanted to, I literally feel like the food is like climbing up my esophagus, and I don't want to force anything and then have all the meal come out. So I'll like pick at it, and then I'm like, okay, literally feel it in my throat. I can't eat anymore. But it's kind of weird because everybody else can eat, so I'm like not waiting or watching anybody eat, because I'm not in a rush, and it's creepy to have someone watch you eat. But it's like, I know this eating thing looks weird to you, but it's kind of normal to me now. And I don't know, it's just interesting. Me, food, body, which is interesting because as we were waiting outside, when the founding farmers didn't freaking seed us and feed us correctly, I don't even know what the inside looks like, and everybody went inside and everybody seems to like it. And they were dressed up. Some people were dressed up to the nines, other people were just like casual, low-key. I didn't even go inside to actually see the establishment, because y'all didn't even see us when you were supposed to see us. Y'all didn't even call our names. The only thing I did see was the bathrooms. And speaking of the bathrooms in DC are freaking tiny. I'm like, how can you legally have this acceptable? I just gotta be honest. This is the capital, the state capital of the United States. I would think your bathrooms would be handicap accessible. Granted, I'm not physically handicapped, so I don't need a bigger stall. However, if I was in a wheelchair, I would need a bigger stall. The fact that your stalls are honestly not even fit for like people who are bigger, like obese or overweight. Like if I was 300 pounds, honestly, I don't know if I could use the bathroom in DC, because they're literally freaking tiny. So that's another thing. But back to what I was saying. Body, food, and stuff, right? I've always had a weird relationship with food to begin with. I've never had like any like anorexia or bulimia, but I was an overweight girl growing up. I was made fun of for being overweight. Like, mother talked about my body, other people. It's weird. I don't know if it's a me thing. I don't know if it's a personal experience. I don't know if it's a bigger girl experience, but people feel very comfortable talking about your body without even asking you, without even like inserting your own input. It's just like, oh, you look like this, and you need to lose this, that, and your breasts are like this. And it's just like, why does everybody feel comfortable talking about my body to me in front of my face, and you're not my doctor, and talking about my body behind my back? It was just so food, body, all of that, right? So now that I'm more conscious and self-aware of myself, and I'm confident my body is my body and own it, I still kind of feel awkward talking about my body and having others talk about my body, though it's usually on some, wow, you're really fit, you're slender, you have a nice body, boop-de-boop. And though I'm not holding any baggage or burdens or hurts from yesteryear, I'm still not comfortable hearing conversations about my body, especially my eating habits. So though I was not offended, though I don't have any malice or anything, I just rather people just not care that how I'm eating or how much I'm eating or not eating at all or anything like that, because I'm very intentional about it, especially now that I eat a whole lot better than I did in the past, hence the weight loss. And I'm very aware of like my water intake, my vitamins, eating fruits and vegetables, eating greens. I literally will stuff vegetables in my food to make sure that I have had enough of my nutritions and vitamins. So I'm very aware of that, and even how much I eat. But I just don't like when people talk about it. But I'm not offended. I want to put it out there because I know at least one of my friends might watch this, and I don't want her to think that I was offended at her or anything. But I am very aware about like my eating habits and things of that nature. So yeah, if y'all are eating and I don't really eat, it's nothing, anything wrong or bad or like food insecurities or anything like that. It's really like I probably ate a big meal or I'm just digesting things slower, and I physically can't eat this. I might just puke it out. So there's that on that, but we're moving on. And after that, I think we just hit our Airbnb, which the Airbnb was dope. It was a super huge room. We had a mini fridge. We had a microwave. We had a big old TV. We had a desk area. Everything was really nice, very spacious, very welcoming. And it was clean. It was great. It was great location. 5-minute walk, if that, to the train station. We were near Prince George's Plaza. Quick entry into D.C. We saw the White House, not as close as we would have wanted to, but we were just exploring the city. We also saw the Washington Monument, the one that looks like a oblique. We saw that. We walked all the presidential and federal and embassy buildings. They're literally like one street, like Pennsylvania Ave, like basically we walked down there. It's interesting. One of my friends made a comment, was like, you would think this being like a federal building that they would be more inconspicuous about police vans and like things like that, but it's literally this like big old Jeep that says police. And I was like, yeah, like these polices today, they're not like the 007, they're not like the incognito, they're not that. They're definitely not spy agent, making sure I come in on a surprise attack. They're like Officer from The Simpsons, Officer Wiggins. Like they just about their donuts and how brutal they can be to other people. That's really what they got going for them. So I'm not surprised by that. But and Reagan has his own building. Reagan has his own building. Edgar Hoover, I'm not surprised, has his own building as well. And other presidents have their own building too. Trump Hotel is literally right on Pennsylvania Avenue with all these federal buildings. And I was just like, can we call this a coincidence? Can we call this like prophetic or what? Like, what would you call that? But it's very, when I saw the Trump Hotel. I think that was pretty much it. But overall, the energy was great. The food, besides, well, I'll be honest with you, Founding Farmers, I was highly disappointed. I'm not going to hold it against you because your waiter, he was cool and everything, but like, major disappointment. But the other places that we went to eat made up for it. So, yeah. And we drove there. Estimated time was not the actual time. Estimated time was estimated. The actual time was about 10 hours. Traffic, legitimately. But we ended up getting Chick-fil-A. So I don't know if it counts for everything or anything, but in Massachusetts, the state of Massachusetts, we have Chick-fil-A. But in the city of Boston or the metro area, so that'd be like the surrounding cities around Boston, don't have Chick-fil-A. And if you want Chick-fil-A, you have to leave the city. And living in the city costs a pretty penny. So I was just like, you know what? If I get Chick-fil-A in a year, I'm cool with that. But if I don't get Chick-fil-A for the year, I'm cool with that too. Because I don't want to hike all the way out of the city to get some Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A good, real good. But it's not like hit the road, jump through hoops good. So I had Chick-fil-A for the year. That was the point. Last year I didn't get none because of the lockdown and everything. But this year, during my little girls trip to DC, I got my Chick-fil-A. So, you know, the Lord works in mysterious ways. Also, the girls had this coffee from this place called Phil's. And they said basically it's crack in a cup. If y'all ever had Phil's, let me know. See, to me, coffee is coffee is coffee. Like, I can tell the difference between Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks from the taste, like, obviously. But I'm never like, oh, I really need that Starbucks. I really need that Dunkin's. Coffee is coffee is coffee is coffee to me. So I don't ever take it, like, as something other than coffee. I don't see Dunkin' Donuts that's just average and Starbucks that's the creme de la creme. It's just coffee to me. So they said it was great, so I need to try it one of these days. The Phil's coffee. And that's my DC trip. Have y'all been on a vacation? Have y'all been on a trip? The gag is, that was on one of my lists of things I wanted to do this year, but I was certain it was not going to happen. And then out the blue, the opportunity kind of fell into place, and I took it, and it became a girls thing. So you never know. But did y'all do a vacation? Did y'all go somewhere? Did y'all drink Phil's coffee or have some Chick-fil-A or whatever? Y'all let me know in the comment sections below. How has y'all's mental health been? The colors that I actually need are not actually here, so I feel like this is going to be like a two-parter on this particular canvas because I don't have the colors that I need. So we'll just make it a talking session. How have y'all been? How has your mental been, if I can speak? And did y'all do anything? I know I always ask, did y'all do anything? But it's important to like keep track of not just the daily grind, but like, what have you done to make you, to make you feel better, to make you feel legit, light, to make you feel abundant. It doesn't have to be a vacation. It literally could be going into the park and just strolling the park, strolling the woods, taking a bike ride. Like, what have you done to make you feel whole, feel heard and listened and catered to? So y'all let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, I think that's all for the DC trip. And I would go back to DC. DC is a different vibe. There's a lot of black people in DC. And again, I'm from Massachusetts. Of course, I'm black, so I do see black people. But black people like DC ain't black people like Massachusetts. In the sense of like, there's not a lot of black people like that in Massachusetts. But also, the culture's different. The people's different. And I will say, DC, Maryland, because I don't think I've really met people from Virginia. But DC, Maryland, though, them folks are really nice. They're very polite. And I notice these things, okay? Taking the train in DC, they don't play. They have a whole board that say, hey, no fools, no pets, don't be dirtying up our trains, no nothing. Don't come in here with no nothing. And guess what? Their trains are clean, okay? Okay, I'm just saying, Red Line. I'm just saying, MBTA, you can take a few tips from DC. Another thing about the train, which is not pro DC, is the fact that y'all know y'all gotta pay to leave the train station. Now, when we were hopping the city, I told the girls that we should get like a 3-day pass because I know Massachusetts does 3-day passes, so I'm assuming other places do like a weekend or 3-day pass because that's what we're there for the weekend anyways. So, I requested a 3-day pass and we all got it, which was fine because you can do, in and out of the trains. So it wasn't like pay every time you go in and out, you have the pass. So you would pay for the 3 days that you bought the pass for. Do you know you gotta pay to leave the station? I was like, what? In Massachusetts, you pay to take the train. And then when you leave, you just leave. And then you want to come back into the train station. And if you want to come back into the train station, you got to pay to take the train. So every time you are actually using, whether that means transferring from one train to the next train, whether that means transferring from like the train to the bus, like you're paying. but we don't pay you, or Massachusetts don't tax you or pay you or charge you to leave the train station. They charge you on your way out. I was like, what? They charge you on your way out? I said, huh? They charge you on your way out? I said, ah. Massachusetts, don't you ever do no whole shit like that. Don't you ever. You gonna tax Harvard, Leslie, Northeastern, all the Ivy Leagues. You gonna get that money first. Don't you ever do no shit like that. Charge us to leave the train station. I'll be damned. Don't you ever, MBTA. Don't be slick. So that was something I was surprised by. But I really love the cleanliness though. That was top shelf. Compared to Massachusetts, please. That was it. I didn't take the buses, so I don't know what that life is like. The train, pretty clean. There was something else I was gonna say, but I forgot. The people. Very polite, very welcoming, very like personable, right? And I think it really is a Southern thing. I'm gonna be honest with you, okay? My first Southern experience was North Carolina, 2016. People were very nice, very like open, very hospitable, very personable, right? And just make me small talk, like, hey, how are you? Where are you from? Do you like it here? Boo, 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 boo. Same thing in DC. As well as in DC, when people like bump into you, and not even on purpose, not even just to get a rise out of you, just like they accidentally bump you. It happens all the time. The person will turn around and be like, oh, excuse me, and they'll notice you. Sometimes they'll even put like their hand on your shoulder just to be like, oh, my bad, right? Massachusetts, they don't do that. They will bump you and act like you crazy because you offended that they bumped you. They're going to act like they didn't see you, or they didn't see that. They're going to act like they didn't feel that they hit you. Like when they bumped into you, like let's say shoulder to shoulder, they're going to act like their shoulder did not feel your shoulder upon their bump. They don't excuse themselves. They don't have any manners. Just like literally, I've noticed that several times in Massachusetts, several times. And they'll look you dead in the face and act like they didn't say anything. They didn't do anything, right? And I'm not expecting a full on, please have mercy on my soul, forgive me, please don't beat me up, but I'm expecting you acknowledging that you bumped me and that you're excusing yourselves. Like, who raised y'all? Like, oh my goodness, like no manners, just pigs, no manners. But in DC, they excuse themselves. Or even something as kind as like, you hold the door for somebody. If someone holds the door for you, the person who's catching the door, isn't it polite etiquette to be like, thank you, because I really didn't have to hold the door for you, and I'm not holding the door for a thank you. But goodness gracious, where is your manners? In DC, guess what? They say thank you. So those are things that I noticed about DC that I really appreciate. And I thought that is really, really black. There's a lot of black people there. Then you can go to any section and see like a whole building full of black people, an establishment full of black people, workers to the managers, black people. Go like block to block to block, black people. But what I did notice in DC is more segregated though. And it's not segregated in the sense of like, this is the black section and this is the white section. But like, you'll walk down a block and it's like black, black, black. And then like the adjacent street, white, white, white. Or just not black. And I'm just like, interesting, because it's like little clusters. You don't really see too much intermingling like that, at least where I was at, around that U Street, P Street area. But it's not really as mixed and mingled. Whereas in Boston, yeah, you have like black areas and black neighborhoods, which is kind of different too. We're not going to get into like the gist of how I see things set up and how things are in Boston, especially when it comes to like race and things of that nature. This is not that type of video. But like, I don't know if it's because there's not a huge population of black people in like Massachusetts in general, in particular Boston, because Boston would be where most black people would be at, though they're sprinkled throughout the state. But what I noticed in Boston, there'll be mixed, right? There'll be mixed venues. There'll be like usually majority white, and then there'll be mixed venues. Or something that really blows my wig back is there'll be like a white bar, right? A white club full of like white preppy kids, trust fund kids, and they're listening to Migos. Like, all the aesthetics white, but like the culture black. And you'll see them get like the private tables so they can take pictures on Instagram to show like they got bottle service. But those same like quote unquote kids will continue the same surface level progression, but institutional, archaic, bureaucracy divide. If you catch my drift, it's only progressive on the surface level, but it's not progressive where it needs to be, i.e. medium wealth, i.e. wages, i.e. education, i.e. healthcare, the things that actually matter to the human experience. Like, no, but they'll have like so many signs that say Black Lives Matter, 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 Black Lives Matter. Oh my God, Black Lives Matter. But do you hire Black people? Do you pay Black people? Do you actually know Black people? Like, have you ever had dinner and invited your quote unquote Black friend that every white person seems to have, especially when they do something that is racially offensive? They all of a sudden have a Black friend that like no one's ever seen. But like, do you actually have ever invited a Black person to your home for dinner? Like, or is your extent of knowing Black people or Blackness is Beyonce and Obama? Y'all let me know. But anyways, that's not this video. But yeah, I would like to add more pieces to it, but honestly, the pieces that I would want is like this brown, this orangey, goldish look, and I have just more purples and like blues and greens and things, so this is not really what I need. So I think I'm going to cut the video now, but stay tuned for part 2, because I'm going to actually spill some paint, let it dry, and then get back to what we usually do. But I guess this was a catch up, like catching up, not ketchup like the sauce. Are you ketchup eaters with your eggs? Is that you? Is that you? A judgment free zone. But y'all know how I feel about that. Gross. But hey, I'm not gonna yuck your yum. If that's your yum, I'm gonna let you have that yum. But it's still a no for me, dog. But I'm gonna let you have that. But I think that's all I got. I'm going to see if I can do a little something with this orangey white cluster. But that's as close that I have of dry paint that would actually match the cabinets. And hopefully the next time I do this video or continue on this particular portrait, my voice won't so raspy. And honestly, I have no idea why my voice is raspy. I'm the only one out of the 3 girls who has the raspy voice. I don't know what that's about, but on our way back, I was like, damn, my voice is starting to get raspy. Yesterday, I didn't talk all day. And today is like the first time I'm talking, because I'm talking to y'all. And this is what my voice sounds like. So next time I do this, hopefully my voice sounds less scratchy. There's nothing like spending, 72 hours with someone that teaches you a lot about the person and also yourself. In the sense of like, you know someone, like this is my coworker. You know someone, we go out, or this is my peer, or this is my classmate. You know someone on that level, right? But there's nothing like being in close proximity with someone for like 72 hours where it's just like, I know you on that level. But of course, during a road trip, you're having conversations about dating and past life experiences and, just life in general. You notice and learn a lot about the person, but also how it interconnects with yourself. Because the way I see life is that You learn about yourself through your own personal experiences, and the relationships that you have, especially the close, intimate relationships, they are a reflection of yourself. So as you are learning the person and the experiences that you have as a friend, or whatever relationship it is, you're also learning about yourself. Especially when you see this in particular with like toxic relationships, toxic couples, and they're like, how the hell are they together? But like, there's something about that weird relationship, no matter how ass backward it is, that is pulling them both to each other, because there's something about that toxicity. They both resonate on a level. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's healthy. I'm just calling it out for what it actually is. So that's something, another side note. But just in general, relationships teach you about yourself as much as it does teaches you about the other person, right? Especially when we have like bonding experiences in the car. We talked about like being the quote unquote alternative black girl, which is a thing, and like even being called quote unquote white, or something that you said or something that you listened to is quote unquote white or quote unquote ratchet, and like how does that leave an impression on you? Or even dating, like the type of people that you date, why do you date them? Or the people that you're attracted to, why you're attracted to them. Sometimes it's just really like they do it for you, but sometimes it's a learned behavior. Sometimes it's out of scarcity, it's out of abuse. It's different reasons for different folks. And it's interesting to see everybody's music choice and selections. And I refuse to think that you would go on a road trip with anyone and not at least like one song that someone else likes. You're exchanging playlists and stories and memories. I think this is all I can do with this for right now. So I'm going to leave this particular portrait to be continued. But I'm also on TikTok, which I'm not really sure how I feel about TikTok. In a sense of like, again, pushing 30. I don't feel like I'm an old lady, but I also don't feel like nor think that I want to keep up with all the trends and what's hot and what's not. I really, you're not going to catch me on TikTok doing a Meg Thee Stallion challenge. Not because I think less than of anybody else my age or older doing it. It's really, I'm not that invested in it. Like, that's just really what it is. I'm just not that invested in keeping up, period. But I know TikTok is a great means of people communicating. It's short, quick, cute little videos. And I've watched other people's TikTok videos enough to like actually like the theme of TikTok. Like there's this guy, I don't know how you pronounce his name, but he's the animal guy with all the facts. All little black boy with all the facts of all these animals, and the way that he disseminates the information about the animal facts is what has him having like 5 million plus followers on TikTok. It's not just the fact that he's throwing out animal facts, it's the fact that he does it the way that he does it, and you learn something along the way. So I know it's useful, that's the point, but I don't want to use TikTok just to mindlessly scroll, but I also don't want to use TikTok for any like business or promotion. So I decided to use TikTok as like my travel digital scrapbook. So I love traveling. I so do. So wherever life takes me, I think I'm just going to make quick little 3-minute videos of them and like piece them together and put it up there. And it's not really to showcase the world like, look at me, look at me, look at me. It's a way for me to like keep track of like what I've done, how it made me feel in that moment, as well as like, look, a phone can only hold so many freaking pictures and so many videos, and I don't like deleting my pictures and my videos. So I also don't want to be buying storage for videos and photos either. So my best compromise with self is to make like a little digital scrapbook, to have it up there into the internet space, and it's for me to keep record of like life. So that's where I'm gonna keep like my travel stuff whenever it happens. And I'm gonna put it on my Love Travel TikTok account. So that's something else that's new too. I'm quote unquote on TikTok, but I'm not gonna upload as often unless I do something that's really, really cool. Either I'm traveling somewhere or I'm going to a place, even if it's in the same state, but it's something really, really fun, really, really cool, and I just want to share the experience. So there's that. But if this was a typical Paint Your Truth process painting workshop, I would be tapping the singing bowl and bringing everybody in. So let's do that now. So, if I was doing this painting workshop with the collective, I'd be asking people two questions, two follow-up questions, two simple questions. And those questions would be, how did you feel about the painting process? Because again, everybody's different and everybody's experience is different. So since it's just me, myself, and I, and y'all who are going to watch this when I upload it, how I felt about this was just, I wanted to have like kind of like a girl chat, but not really a girl chat, just an anybody chat, to be honest with you. I just wanted to chat. I just wanted to just be like, this is what I've been up to. This is my updates. Life just been lifing. Life has just been lifing. And I've just been in the whirlwind of it. But I didn't abandon my YouTube channel. And I'm still practicing self-care. But I'm also living. I'm also expanding just like everybody else on this planet. As well as I just wanted to share my newness, just new things going on in my life. Certain things are still to unfold, so I don't want to talk about it or jinx it. But I just wanted to go on camera, just share that I'm good, life's good, wellness is still a focus, mental health on fleek. You know, we're inching closer into that depressive seasonal depression streak thing episode. But in all seriousness, no, I'm good. So how I felt about it was just catching up, just talking, especially since this is literally the last painting that I painted. So it's literally catching up. It's like season finale, and then there's like season 2 has been renewed and we're back on the where we left off, but I'm adding new things to it. So that's how I felt about the process. I felt very calm, especially my voice is hoarse, so I was like, damn, is my voice gonna get dry? Am I gonna start coughing? None of that. I have my cup of water, so I feel good. Life is good. I have no complaints. Second question would be like, what did I paint? Obviously. And I was just going to do the typical, like, show the audience your canvas. And then I had to remember, like, oh, the audience is watching the desk. So there's nothing to showcase and bring up to the audience, because the audience is this way as opposed to, like, that way. But anyways, this is the finishing product. Well, the product in process. I haven't really added anything, and truth be told, I might still take away some of the pieces. The color scheme that I wanted is not available to me at the moment, so I have to dry out some paints, but that's all to the good. So it's the owl. It's the same owl. And it's funny because it's like soar above, because that was the theme of it. I don't know when I edit this video if I'm going to find the last process painting video that I did and do one of those side-by-side type of things, because I talked about soaring higher and wanting to travel and expand, and literally that's what happens. And it's funny because I've been noticing more just in life in general, and when it happens to other people that I'm with, I always say, look at God, because God always knows. Everything is on God's plan. I don't know how y'all feel about God, and I don't think of God necessarily associated with religion. I look at God as like an It's like wind. How do you explain wind? It's here, there, and everywhere, but you can't hold it, you can't feel it, but it's there. I feel like the way I interpret God is kind of like how I interpret water. How do you explain water to someone who doesn't know water? Like, it's a solid, it's a liquid, it's transparent, it could be cold, it could be hot. Like, water is a mind effery in and of itself, because it's very adaptable. And that's the way I look at life and God in and of itself, the concept of God, right? So whenever we talk about something and I see it happening in real life, like literally I said something and me and one of the girls, we were watching the series Good Girls that we started. Last time I checked, we left off on episode 3. We were watching the show, and if you know the show, you get the gist of it. If you don't, quick Google search if you're interested. And I looked over to my friend and I was just like, have you ever watched the show Locked Up and Abroad? And then I started explaining it to her. As soon as I'm done explaining it to her, one of the characters, the single mother who's like trying to make life work out for her, she's like, I don't want to be on Locked Up and Abroad. And we were like, oh my God, I literally just said that. I literally said that. So it's interesting when you say something and then it just happens in real life. And I always look at that like it's God's plan. I always look at that like, look at God. I would literally scream, look at God. Because look at God. Things just happen. Things naturally unfold. The universe knows your true intentions. God hears you. God reads your mind and reads your soul. So there's no privacy in this thing. And that's how God helps you to get to where you're trying to get to. If you're on alignment with who you are and what you're supposed to be doing, as well as you are adaptable to just go with the flow of life. And this is what this owl represents. An owl is a bird. Most birds, not penguins, but most birds fly. So it's talking about taking flight. It's talking about expanding your horizons. It's talking about expanding, but it's also talking about having a keen eye, a bird's eye. The fact that an owl and an eagle could be several feet in the air, see prey, see its food, and dirt down and gets it. Like, that's keen, because you would think the higher you are, the more grand that you can see, and therefore it's like sensory overload. You're seeing so many things because you have a better perception because you're higher. However, even with all the clarity, all the perception, and seeing everything it is for the vast landscape that's in front of you, you still have to have a keen eye on exactly what it is you truly desire and if it's in its truest intent. Now that I'm into like talking about spirituality part right here, we have several planets in retrograde right now. Whether you believe, whether you don't believe, that's not the point. But there's several planets in retrograde, and it's telling us to be adaptable and to be able to go with the vibe, go with the wave. Again, went to the DC trip, totally unexpected, totally happened like off cuff, right? Didn't really have much of an expectation of things to do. We wanted to go to several museums, but things didn't happen. But we had so much fun. We had so much vibes. Like, the energy was so great. And it's about living life in its fullest, living life in its authenticity, but also not being pulled and turned and toyed with the obstacles and like the downsides or even the down times of life. Being able to soar above those obstacles, but also keep keen and keep your eye on what you truly desire. So it's interesting that I painted the owl, then it got to live the owl experience, and now I am in the process now of turning this owl a little bit more 3D on the canvas form. So I feel like just life is just not making, how do I explain this? I feel like life is trying to say, don't believe me, just watch. I really feel like this is life for me. I don't know about anybody else. I can't speak about anybody else's experience, but I feel like God and life is just like, don't believe me, just watch. Because there was literally 10 things. I have a 10 list items. And I told my friends, like, there were 10 things that I wanted in the beginning of the year. And I had a burning ceremony where basically it's like the things that no longer serve you. Right? 10 things that no longer serve you, whether it's low self-esteem, whether it's like you being mad that you have cellulite, whether it means like still being upset about your ex-boyfriend cheating on you, whatever the case may be, right? 10 lists of things that no longer serve you. Burn them. Literally burn them. and release them. Let them go. Do a chant, repeat a particular phrase or whatever the case may be. Let it go. And in its place, in substitution of what you removed, put down 10 things that you wanted to develop over the year. And I kid you not, nine or 8 things on that list is completed this year. And I'm telling you, these things are things that I wanted to be done this year, but I wasn't holding on to it. I wasn't like, oh, make it happen, make it happen, make it happen. It was just like, I hope it happens. You see how they're loosely linked, my hands? If you can kind of see. I just want it to happen, but I wasn't holding on to it. I just want it to happen. 8 out of 10 things already happened on the list. And maybe once everything's completed, I'll show you what the list actually looks like. But it happened. And I remember setting my intentions every new moon, even the Aries new moon I just passed on the 6th, right? Being intentional about coordinating what I can have control over, but also being adaptable to the planets and the transits, and to also letting God just let things unfold. The fact that I met 2 really great women this year, and I remember that was one of the things on my list where it's like, I really want a new set of friendship circle. It's developing, and it's developing quite well. I talked about I really wanted to do a trip. I wanted to travel this year. And I said, hopefully, my number one pick would be internationally. But if it's in the States, it's nationally, I'm okay with that. I just don't want to get Rona. I just want the best choice that's not going to get me effed up in these streets and end up traveling. But those are like 2 examples. But I have like 2 other things that I want to see if it's going to unfold. But I'm not holding so tight to it because life has a way of making things happen in divine timing. So, needless to say, this is what I painted. This is what I've added as pop-up art. And how am I going to implement this into my life? I think I said a mouthful, and everything I said, I stand on that. I stand on that for this particular question, and that's my answer. I'm going to continue to be adaptable. I'm going to continue to let things unravel. I'm going to continue keeping faith and keeping my eye on the prize, keeping that keen eye, but I'm not going to be so gun-ho on things, because that's just the magic of life, of letting things unravel. And it saves me a whole lot of back and forth and like ruminating and looking back at the past and I should have done this and whoop-de-whoop that. It allows me just to be and be present and not in my head and not focus on shoulda, woulda, coulda, and just being in the here and now. And life tends to be more funnier that way. So that's how I'm going to implement this particular canvas into my life. It's still a work in progress, and hopefully next week we will continue on where we left off. But I think that's all we have for today. Let me see my list, making sure that I checked everything twice. Okay. Yeah. You can find me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, YouTube, Paint Your Truth. On Instagram, Paint Your Truth _. Don't forget the underscore. Spelling, regular spelling, PAINTYOURTRUTH. And on Instagram, _. So find me, follow me, I'll follow back, and we can just have a great time. Sharing art, sharing space, talking about astrology, because that's my vibe. That's what I like. And if you are in the Massachusetts area and you would like to schedule your own Paint Your Truth session, whether with you and your friends or a workshop or church event or whatever have you, you can always reach out to me via email at paintyourtruth.art@gmail.com. Everything that you'll need to know will be in the description box down below, like all the other YouTubers. I don't want to make promises because I'm good on making promises before I actually check with myself if I can commit to it. And I'll commit to it, but I'll regret like saying that I was gonna do it, and I'll stick to it because I'm a Taurus. I'll blow it to a false. I mean what I say. I stay grounded. I'm an Earth sign. But I'd be like, damn, I really wish that I didn't volunteer for 3 hours helping someone move heavy ass furniture because I just wanted to be nice. That Libra rising in me was just like, yeah, I want to be mutable. I want to be partnership and in commune and this, that, and the third, and I done signed my ass up for something that I was not really sure I wanted to do. So I'm not going to say next week, but the next time definitely, and there will be a next time. So, and since y'all made it this far, can you do something for me real quick and like, share, subscribe, comment down below, and let me know what you think of this video, as well as if anything in this video resonated with you. With all that being said, y'all, be blessed, be enlightened, be loved. I shall see you on the next Page of Truth workshop session. And leave a comment down below. Let me know what you enjoyed. Let me know if anything resonated with you. Have you started on your process painting? How does that look like for you? Have you ever painted in this original, not really organized, but still kind of is organized way? And yeah. With all that being said, y'all, be blessed, be enlightened, be loved. I am out. Peace.